Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect. Yeah. We can take it.
If you want, I can remove this thing.
नहीं
वो
sir,
टेस्ट करें क्या?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, it's okay.
Okay, when we are live now. Okay, awesome. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much to Anupam for joining today's session and giving us the time to share his learnings in his journey. So, firstly, we at WeSkill are extremely proud to be joined by Mr. Anupam. WeSkill is a live online learning platform teaching extracurricular education to children from the age group from 5 to 12. Mr. Anupam has spent a lot of time in education, starting first with creating a community of homeschoolers. And after that, he also launched an innovation platform where he helps schools with innovation and branding solutions called EdMonks, and is now working on his latest venture called Mokshapath, where he helps in promoting cultural consciousness among students. The first question, Mr. Anupam, I have to ask you, looking at your experience, is what brought you to education? I mean, you were someone who had spent so much time in the industry, and then why this sudden career change in 2014?
Thank you so much for inviting me. First of all, it's a really great. I'm feeling happy to be on this platform. So this is a very interesting journey that I have got. I was earlier working into industrial product selling space, into international marketing, and then I think it was destiny to get into this thing. So it happened because of some selfish reasons. So like we were trying to, first time became the parents, and then we are trying to help our own daughter, and soon we realized that we do not know much about education, and we wanted to learn about it, and we were not very happy with the idea of school. So we wanted to become homeschoolers, and we were in kind of a situation where we were not able to take decision. So I thought like I should learn from some of the people. So I tried to learn it from various people. I kind of went through Reggio or Waldorf or Montessori and whatnot, and soon I realized I do not understand anything. I can still give you 2-hour, 5-hour lecture on any of these things, but even till today, after so many years, I feel like I know very less about those things. So and long ago I was told that community is a very good way to kind of learn new things. So I was actually hunting for a community which will help us to learn about this issue, and I couldn't find one. So just for out of my own needs, we launched a community, and that ways I kind of entered into. And this was a very like it was fag end of 2014, and so many people joined, and I realized, oh, this was a need. And so I was able to get into this thing. So I was still in job for a while, but this thing started in fag end of 2014.
And from that homeschooling community to then giving solutions for schools for innovation, I mean, just if you could talk about how receptive were these schools for innovative solutions for education?
So the first thing is we started with homeschoolers community, and then we also pivoted very soon into this entrepreneurs community. So rather than this as a homeschooler thing, it rather became a entrepreneurs in education. So like when for 2 years I ran this community, and in 2016, and when we kind of closed it, it was like 3,000 people strong community. So and it was really like, and that time in India, this co-working culture was popping up. So almost all the co-working spaces in Delhi were offering us free cookies, free coffee, and free space, and free audio visual, and free everything for all in this thing. So that was a very lovely time. And all of a sudden I was being invited at the places, and getting connected to all top-notch guys in this space. So this was all good. But since these were entrepreneurs primarily, and they were every second entrepreneur was coming to me and telling me that, these schools are not buying our stuff. We are doing so much innovation and these are not buying stuff. And, at times when you keep listening to one idea on a regular basis, so you feel like there is no smoke without fire. So I thought like, okay, why not try it out? So in 2016, and I kind of closed that community and started a new venture, EdMonks, just to do the research in the school education space and how I can connect those entrepreneurs to these innovative school leaders. And I personally feel, had I not started this thing, I would be knowing very, very little about education. Like I really feel when I talk to the entrepreneurs today, and their way of thinking about education is like very shallow, most of the cases. They understand business very well, very well. But I have really learned the education side from the school leaders. And I really respect them. Not all school leaders are really innovative. Very, very small. Like in my experience, I have met like thousands of school owners or school principals, and like hardly 10-14% people are really innovative. But those people are really, really like amazing on that. So that was
I'm just saying, could you share some innovation that you saw in some of these schools? I mean, for some of our listeners, that what were these innovative practices?
Yeah, so I think, innovation is a very subjective term. First thing we need to understand. So something that is being done in, let's say, very small town near Bathinda, let's say, their innovation will be very different from that is being done in, let's say, a school in Delhi. So if a school in, like, I usually do this kind of thing. So some top, like tier 1 school principal will say, oh, we are very innovative. I say, okay, let's understand what innovative have you done. So they will tell me, oh, don't you know, we are running this lab, and in this lab, all the top-notch guys from the various industries are coming and, sharing their thing on gratis and everything. And I said, so what is your innovation in it? Since you are in, let's say, Chennai, let's say in Delhi, let's say in Mumbai, it is available. Is it available to somebody in Bathinda? So if it is not available, it is nothing like innovation, frankly. But if they are doing it and they are trying to go out and find out right people who can really share something at their end, this is innovation. So we need to understand how they are doing things, something which is not even being dreamt of in their place, and then they are doing it. I would say this is innovation, right? And innovation is usually like, generally, like I work on the other side of skill side of the children also. So this creativity thing or innovation thing, this is like, very much well connected kind of thing. So if you really see, creativity is when you kind of can use multiple ideas to create a singular idea. These ideas are coming from different segments. You combine them together, and this is called creativity. In the same way, innovation is when you are doing it and you are also making it executable stuff. That becomes innovation. So when you are able to connect various ideas from different places and then connect together and then able to execute it. So even I would say naming your, let's say, different classroom in different ways can be innovation. So like, let's say all my classes are named by, let's say, some mountains. So Himgiri, Nilgiri, this, that. This is also innovation. So innovation can come in many, many ways. And there are like high-end level of innovation also. So just imagine that a school is running in a way that, the teachers are not changing rooms, but the students are changing room. This is innovation. So every time this is done, now they will go to the maths room. Now they will go to the science room. Now they will go to the lab. Now they will go to library. So this is the way. So they are not like my homeschooler, my daughter, 10-year-old now, very soon going to be 11-year-old. And recently she told me that, Dad, what is in there in the school? So what happens? So I kind of started telling. So, you go there, every 40 minutes, the period will change, and then some other teacher will come. And she said, okay, so I will keep sitting over there. So I said, yes, you will keep sit in that, keep sitting that chair only. And for how long? I said, for the entire day, but in between you can go and, if you're mischievous, you can, jump out and do things in between. But then even I will have to sit the entire day in that seat only at one place. I said, yes, but Papa, this is torture. You see, so we are not thinking things from the perspective of children, and these schools are thinking.
Yeah.
So innovation can come in many shapes.
This just sets the tone so well for what you're doing right now. I mean, what you're doing right now is nothing short of innovation in creating cultural consciousness. So for our listeners, if you could just share your journey with Mokshpath and what brought you to even start this venture, which I think is just amazing.
Yeah. So like, when somebody asks me in person, like, what you really want to do, or what you are really excited about, so I would always say I'm excited about some like a futuristic learning or future of work, and how you kind of go into that space. And I was actually trying to build a community for parents, and I was calling them progressive parents and doing some stuff. And I was trying to understand what really we need to teach to children to, really connect with that whole thing. And I kind of tried to understand it in 4 segments. So I kind of like making frameworks, basically. So I thought, like, the first thing you need to understand, that you need to kind of connect your children with the, like, giving them the big picture, what it is all about, what kind of, like, that sustainable earth. So do they know about that challenge? Do they know about, like, how the workplace is changing, gig economy and all those sort of things, how technology is changing this world and all those sort of things. Then the second thing, which is like very important in that whole 4 segment, and that is, can your child make a life philosophy? This is very, very important. This is something you need to give. So do they really know how to find their own element? Can they connect with their roots?
Yeah.
Can they kind of foresee what is their vision, how to develop vision? All those sort of things come into this part. So connecting with the roots was the thing which was like, getting connected to me. And then probably I kind of accidentally came into this. This was technically not my idea. It is my younger sister's idea. She lives in States, and so this is a whole story. If you really want, I can share.
No. So, but I can completely relate to that. I mean, a lot of our parents who are enrolled on our platform, they also come to us with the same problem statement, that my children are consuming so much content which is international, but there's really no alternatives for them to develop these kind of cultural learning. I mean, for example, when we were growing up, we would spend time with the nani, the relatives, and they would tell us a lot about their family history, about stories. But today, time, especially because of the pandemic, right? That whole bond has really broken down. So how do you, I mean, really convey that this culture in such a way that children can consume well and they can understand also? Because you understand that, I mean, a 6-year-old and a 14-year-old are 2 different generations. So how are you?
Almost every 2 years, children are like totally a different character.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, our initiative name is the Mokshapath, and Mokshapath is basically an enterprise that is trying to gamify the culture for children. But the moment we do this, there are a lot of people who really kind of condemn the idea of connecting with the culture. And when they kind of, listen to me, some of the times, they realize that we are not that standard kind of people who are trying to teach religion. You see, so what we are doing, it is something, it's kind of a study. For last 6 months, we have just been doing research to really understand this whole thing, that what we are trying to do. And I usually tell this to people, that forget about my initiative, what Mokshapath is doing. Just listen to these ideas so that you can help your children in that ways. So what we say, let's say you have a niece or nephew or your child, and you want to connect them to that ancient wisdom or culture or traditions or scriptures or whatever you kind of say. Now we consider it as a media challenge. So what happened around 6 months ago, this is the time, like I was building an enterprise with the name of Hive Makers, which was helping startups to connect their brand communities, and it was going very well. People started kind of getting into it, and I was really very excited because I was really trying to build something very huge. And then this, my younger sister, she lives in States, and she kind of called me one day and she said, "Bhaiya, like this is the issue. I'm trying to connect my son, and he's also 10, and to the that Hindu culture thing, and I'm finding these difficulties." And in the beginning, I was not able to even understand, comprehend what she was really meaning. And so I said, she wanted me to help her kind of build that business. So I said, I can help you just like that, but I cannot be a part of it. So tell me what you are trying to do. So she said, I'm trying to connect children with this thing. So, and she was saying that she wanted to build a kind of a workshop or something. And I said, at least when you're trying to do business, think like how you can scale it. So probably you need to kind of start thinking like a board game. How can you build a board game that is more connecting to children? So, and she kind of started making that board game thing, and I kind of went into Hive Makers again, building brand communities. But then she came to me, and then it was a very amazing thing. It was such an amazing thing that I kind of decided I will not be working on Hive Makers. I will be working on this now. And then the research started. If I really want to work into this, I really want to understand it first, because she was really telling me a lot of problems. This thing is an issue, this thing is. So we tried to kind of jot it down, all these issues, and we found that there are 3 major difficulties in connecting your children to the culture. The first is, and this is all media issues. We are not trying to do that, different type of people who are doing a lot of things around this. We are trying to say simple thing. Any culture, any religion, people who want to connect their children with the religion will be able to use this idea. So we are saying the first issue is media limitation. So media limitation is like when you are trying to let's say we are working on Hindu culture. So if you are trying to connect your children with Hindu culture, you need to, there are 2 things in the religion. One is stories, and the second is rituals. What people do not tell stories, and they try to push rituals. So for a certain time, the child is doing for prasad, but later on they start kind of nagging for it. So now they do not want to connect because you're pushing rituals without stories. Now stories, you yourself do not know. Like I usually tell people, you know very little about the whole thing. Let me give you an example, and just try to see. People think that we know already Ramayana, and we know at least all the major characters of Ramayana, right? And I usually ask them, okay, then tell me what was the name of mother of Sita.
Wow.
Right? And then you realize, Arey, we do not even know this. How can that be true? No, that cannot be true. I should think. And you keep thinking for like 5, 10, 20 minutes, and you realize you do not know. So the issue is that you think you know a lot, but media is very limited, and you know only that what is available on the internet. So the whole culture is like this, and this whole very small part of this is only kind of and in today's world, like you see, one god gets an animation in their name, and they become the talk of the town. So for example, animation on Krishna becomes successful, and almost all the stories today you try to find out internet will be around Krishna. Most of the stories today you try to find, it will be around Krishna, right? And then the second can be around Ganesha, because Ganesha's animation is also very successful, and then third is Hanuman, because there is also a thing. But then after that you start getting this is the whole thing. And even about these gods, only very, very skew part of it. So you may not be knowing about Samantakmani, but you may be knowing about Kaliya Daman when it comes to Krishna, let's say. So those kind of things. So what we are trying to say that, you need to first understand that media is very limited, and you need to first learn how to get the larger part of the media. You see, and so this is one problem that we are seeing that needed to be solved.
Yeah.
Second challenge that we found, that media authenticity.
Yeah.
Initially, what was the sources was the authentic sources, the scriptures, right? So you had Puran, you have Bhagavad Puran, or those sort of thing, Vedas and all those sort of things, and our Ramayana and Mahabharata, and there are like many stories in these things. But when it comes to do we know all about this? No. But when internet came, any and everybody started searching, and it was now about keywords. So which is working? So almost any blogger is willing to write on any of the things which is working. So the quality of the content, now it is bogus. Actually, a lot of content that you read is wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So now it is not Kaliya Daman story anymore. It is Krishna and the evil snake. So gradually you will even do not know what was the name of the snake.
Snake. Yeah.
Right. So this is the authenticity issue. And then the third is media linguistics. So the content is not talking to children, it is talking to adults. So it is something like Nachiketa said to Rishivar, what is the crux of the life? Now, this is so difficult even to kind of comprehend for the adults. How would a child will understand? So we needed to solve this thing, these three things. So the media limitation. So how we can talk about more. So like, do you know anything about, let's say, Janmejaya story, which is like very well known. These are not rare stories. I'm talking about the Parikshit story, or Janmejaya story, or Nahush story, or how much you know about even about your rishis, how much you know about let's say Kapil Muni, for example. Very little you know about these people. So then second is authenticity. We are coming from a place where like my Nanaji and Dadaji both kind of studied in Banaras Hindu University, both were Shastri. So that Sanskrit was coming over there. And then we could see that Sanskrit was made up. We found on the internet made up shloks in Sanskrit, made up shloks. And we could see these were made ups. So you see, like for a lay person, Sanskrit is by default authentic. So that authenticity is a challenge. And then the third part, the linguistics. So how we can kind of connect with the children. So we started building board games, activities, and all those sort of things, so that it can really talk to children. So I think that probably answers your question, how we are trying to do this thing.
No, I think you explained it very well, and I mean, I'm just enthralled by your storytelling, to be honest, like the way you really shared your insights. But this is a genuine problem. I mean, and what I find very interesting about what you said, especially, was how you're disseminating this information. Because education per se is not just what happens in a classroom. I mean, learning can happen in any format, right? And this is what we have seen. I mean, it was one of our objectives when we started WeSkill, right? That there is a lot beyond our curriculum. It's the extracurriculars. So developing those skills of creativity, communication, and confidence, which will be the 21st century skills and determine how people go forward. So through your experiences with homeschoolers, with this whole research for cultural education, where do you see the future of education? I mean, how do you think that this futuristic education is going to take shape?
Yeah, so I was actually touching up on that thing earlier also, but let me kind of, so in 2018, April, I kind of published my first book. And this was around how to help your kids think computationally. So till that time, no artificial intelligence and everything was being talked about, but I was at that point of time releasing a book on computational thinking, because now it is by default the first skill that you really want to teach to your child. But then even people are pushing their children to coding, because they think it is all about coding, not about computational thinking, because what you really consume is the best marketed content, not the best content. You see, that's the challenge. You always consume the best marketed content and not the best content. So when you really want to connect your child to the future, because that's what I have been doing all the time. And now a few friends of mine say, you have always been working on future and now you're working on past. What has happened? So I tell them this thing. So we literally, what we are doing, we are technically seeing that we'll be talking about critical thinking, we'll be talking about connecting the dots, we'll be talking about problem solving. All the things that we are building is for these skills, literally. Yes. Right? So as I was telling you, those 4 segments I kind of left in between. So the first one was giving the big picture. Then the second part is like, building the life philosophy. And the third thing, which is very, very important, is how to think, giving them the thinking skills. It is like very, very important. So you, I can recall this, I'm not recalling the exact name, Indian Institute of Science and Fundamental Research, IASFMR, something like this. Huh? So they ran a program. It was a large program on critical thinking. Okay. Right? And I really loved that program. So what we really need to teach children is these kind of skills, thinking skills. And thinking comes in many, many ways, like, social thinking. I can still recall you were going in a lane and all of a sudden the other side kind of get a jam. Now you will see the somebody from the same lane will kind of take, move from the thing. And in a very short time, people will be like stuck. So that one way will never work, because we have not been trained on social thinking. Even environmental thinking, what we actually know about that sustainable earth and all that thing is only ped lagao, put the trees, that's it. That is the entire thing over here on the curriculum of all the schools and all the colleges and all the mechanisms. People do not know beyond this, only a very, very few percent. So what we really need to do is, first, let's start thinking. So this is the third part of this whole thing. And then the fourth part is, which you are doing at WeSkill, giving them the skill. So self-transformation. What all things you can do for transforming yourself, isn't it? Like, for example, let's say take media literacy. So today, if your child do not know about how to manage media, how to kind of, let's say, edit video, that basics, creating many children, you'll find like those 10th grader, 9th grader, 8th grader will be able to kind of edit videos and putting on the internet and, doing much amazing work than compared to me, like what I can do. This is a good thing. You need to kind of, the other thing, let's say, is coming data sciences. So can you really help them to learn it early? Now the challenge is, let's say you want to teach machine learning to a younger child. They're willing to learn it, but that linguistics is also a challenge here, that media linguistics, because all that content that is teaching machine learning today is talking to adults, not to children. So that is a gap. So people, if they really understand, enterprises like you and parents, if both of them understand that this is a different content that needs to be created, and this will be expensive because this is being created for a like skew audience. And if you can create that thing, that is an amazing thing, literally.
And just to one other skill that what we really pride ourselves in is just happiness. I think that happy children are what makes the country much better, and that's what, like,
I would not comment on this on the internet, because you are saying and I am on your show. But frankly speaking, happiness is not the goal. When we are happy, we are doing much less work. We are not innovating when we are happy. We are innovating when we are bored. Children do innovation only when they are bored. This is something that I have learned from this. This is a gimmick which is being spread by people, because this is a new word now. Everybody is looking for new. Happiness is not the goal.
Sure.
You see, you understand that one. You need to push things, and then they will be kind of doing some new thing. So the idea is that, can you create that linguistics that they can really want to do that thing. And yes, you are right when you are saying happiness, because happiness is a good thing when you create that conducive environment.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you are creating that conducive environment, happiness thing, this is a good thing. So you're not pushing. If you will not do this, I will kill you. That kind of a thing is very bad, right? But the idea is make them let them feel bored, then only they will innovate. Isn't it? So conduciveness, happiness is absolutely must. You cannot kind of threaten people to really do something new.
No, and what we genuinely believe in is that, and as a parent, that you would also have felt with your child, that you can't push the children to do stuff. They have to really feel it themselves. They have to be passionate about it. And
I want to share one thing. Very, usually when you become parent, your child is there, you want to kind of brag. So I want to brag one thing, which kind of made me happy. So last year, she's 10 now, until last year also she was 10. So she was giving a session to school children, a set of school children, and these were 10th graders. And I kind of recall they, after the session, they all said, Nikisha, you are an inspiration and this and that. And we do not believe that. Like, she's a very average kid. People feel it for different reasons. And she also felt that way. I'm an average kid. But then what happened, that one boy asked a spontaneous question to her that, okay, Nikisha, what is your goal of life? If even for adults, this is a very tough question. Like, if you ask me this question, I cannot answer just like that. And she kind of gave a prompt reply, oh, to learn whatever I can and to help others.
Wow.
And I can still feel like even today, I cannot give a better answer than this for the goal of life. Right. So this is something that we really, need to give to our children. So I felt really very happy for that answer. And we felt like we were able to do something right with our child.
No, I think what you've done is an amazing job. I mean, that level of thinking, clarity, and conviction in her thought process is just amazing. I think that's just wow. I mean, I'm still stunned by that answer. I think it's just so beautiful communication at this point. So as we just conclude this conversation, I mean, just want to understand your perspective. I mean, as a parent, right? This obviously this pandemic has been tough, and there have been different channels of education that has been going around. So where do you see this going? I mean, do you see, what is your view on online education? Do you think that is a good solution, or this activity-based learning? So if you can just share something.
It's a very long answer. I'll try to kind of put it short. So there are many things that can be kind of conveyed online and executed offline.
Wow.
Right. So like, for example, we have just started the Mokshapat. Like, let me do the marketing also at the Mokshapat on every social media. But the point is, what we did, we recently did a 1-week program with the name Parampara, traditions. So this is something like whatever is in the past, how you convey it to the future generation. So what we did a 7 days program where we are saying, we are telling you small activities that you can do with your child to, whatever you learned from your grandparents or parents or vicinity when you were a child, to the children. And we are trying to tell, see, you learned so many things and you haven't shared it yet. And this is your duty to. So how will you do it? Do these with small activities. So can you do this thing today? Can you do this thing today? Every morning we were giving one activity, and in the evening we were giving them a document so that they can understand what was the meaning for this and how they can take a feedback on their own job. So this was something which kind of was being done online but offline. What I am feeling, what I have felt, or what I have understood in working in this space for a long time, most of the parents have been using schools as a nanny, right? So they are not really interested, in the marketing, there is a concept called, especially in word of mouth marketing, the new love. So when you kind of get a new Apple Watch, you are trying to show, see, oh, it tells, this email is coming, all that thing. You do this. But then when gradually after like 2 months time, nobody cares. You kind of wear a new shoe and you tell, hey, see, this is mascot. Oh, this is amazing. Like this, that. But then after a 2 month, 3 month, 6 month time, even in the mud, you are wearing those shoes and you don't care. So the same way it happens to your child also. So if you see on the entire internet, for 0 to 2 year maximum buying for children, gradually lesser and lesser. So now you are only investing into textbooks, right? You are not investing into children. You are just investing into nanny, so that you get the free time. So what parents need to understand, you need to work. It is not that you have offloaded some work to the parents, the schools or somebody. It is your job also to help your children. So you need to learn things and then you have to work with them. So it has to be a combination of parents and teachers. If it is not happening, it will not work.
Wow. I think that's just, I mean, that I completely agree with what you said. I mean, the whole part of the parents have to be very invested in the development of the children, and they can't expect someone else to be doing their job. I mean, that is just a wonderful thought process, and it's something that I've seen as well. On that note, I think today's session we'll have to wrap it up, but I think I've taken like almost a page of notes now, which I'm going to think about for a long time, because it's just been so impactful. And I wish this session could go on a little bit longer, because I think there is just so much to learn from you, Anupam, and just so much that I wish I can take from you. But thank you so much for your time. It's been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I hope the listeners have taken back as much as I have from this conversation. Just the way you approach a problem, just the way you, have done your bit in reforming education for people around you. And I would say that just the way you have educated your daughter, I think that is just very inspiring for us. And we hope that we can also convey this to the parents on our platform who have been listening and who have been learning with us. Thank you so much, Anupam. Wish you a good day, and thank you so much for your time.
And I also wish the same to WeSkills.
Sure.
Thank you.